Hello, my name is Martyr, and this is Let's Play Sunset, and thank you for watching. Sunset is a story-driven exploration game, guys, where you play a housemaid by the name of Angela, and you take care of the house of Gaberial Ortega, a official in a Latin American government that finds itself in the middle of a violent uprising, guys. Sunset released on Steam May 21st, 2015. It was developed and published by Tale of Tales. You can go ahead and get Sunset on Steam for the first week sale price of $17.99 or $19.99 normally. I think it's also available on the Humble Bundle website. Now, guys, let me start by saying that this is a story-driven game, meaning that this video will more than likely contain spoilers to the game, the story, and things that might happen at a later point in the game. I've been playing it for about 2 hours now. There's absolutely no way to do a video without spoiling a little bit about this game, guys. It's completely story driven. It's about the characters. It's about, seeing what unfolds as you get deeper and deeper into the story. But it's a bit of a weird game. I will say that much. It's unusual because it's very calm. It's very much a slower paced game. And it's a game that really, well, it has a narrative. It's also a narrative that you kind of have to interpret yourself. You have to almost kind of create the narrative, how you interact with the tenant of the house, basically, how you interact with Gaberial Ortega and the entire political things that are going on. It's a very interesting way of doing things, to say the least. Now, if you want, you can go ahead and click on that big red button on the top left there. It says skip to the action, but otherwise we're going to start off with the options, which there is some good things here, and then there's some weird things here as well. Weird thing is how this entire menu system is presented to you. I have to say it's a little bit strange, but I mean, it does have quite a few options. The game does feature full controller support, but I found it just a little bit more intuitive to play this game with my keyboard and mouse, because there was just certain buttons that were, like here, if I click on it, you can see there's just certain buttons that are just kind of missing, that don't take you back to the menu screen. There's a couple weird wonky things there that I just didn't exactly like about the fact that it had controller support. But I mean, all the buttons are rebindable, so I mean, that's something that can be patched, that can be just fixed up. It's just, yeah, like you have to like put the controller down, hit the escape button. There's no way to pause the game with the controller, and it's just a very strange way of kind of controlling things and kind of doing things in this game. Like they have a yes and no button. There's a lot of different ways of interacting with objects in a strange way. But I mean, you do have that option available to you. As you can see, you have a multitude of resolution options here. It does go all the way up to 1080p resolution. There is a full screen. There's some invert axis, Y and X there, walking speed. I kind of jacked that up a little bit because, well, I mean, it's a game about trying to do things as fast as humanly possible. So I would suggest, if it allows you to just jack that speed up, I mean, the faster you can move around the house, the better, ultimately speaking. There is going to be probably a little bit of motion sickness if you were kind of affected by that, because there's going to be a lot of, me turning the camera around with my mouse and such. So if you're affected by that, it can happen. Now, the game does have some graphical settings. As you can see, it goes all the way from minimum to max. Now, this game has some graphical issues. It is particularly, I think it's just because it's a day one thing. I'm sure it'll be patched out, but it does drop some frames. I've noticed that there's some times where graphics are just not as clean and crisp, and the frame rates just tank on certain areas because they really wanted to really put a lot of detail into the scene, and they use the reflection of things a lot, and it kind of tanks the FPS sometimes. But I'm hoping that's an issue that'll eventually be patched out. But right now, just for the purposes of this video, I kind of dropped it down to high, just so we wouldn't necessarily, hopefully, not have those issues. But it may still happen. I'm not really sure. You have FOV, brightness, contrast, gamma, and the ability, of course, to reset the game all over again to new. There is no multiple save files, so you will be playing this game kind of once, going all the way to the end, starting over again just to see how everything goes. Other than that, though, that's kind of everything about the options. You can go click on your diary, and this kind of gives you an overall general sense of the things that have happened over the first time you played the game all the way till, later. It goes all the way. These are kind of like the levels in a way. And you can see I've played quite a few of them here so far. And I'm now on August 23rd, 1972, St. Rose of Lima. Lima? Limo? Lima? I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm probably butchering it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and actually get into the game. These are our overall goals over here, by the way, on the left. It says, mend hull in sweater, get rid of photos. You are a housemaid. This is a little bit of a walking simulator. And I don't mean that in a mean derisive way, but I mean it is what it is. You're a character who walks around, and there's no action, there's no explosions, there's nothing of the sorts. There's just a story-driven game. So you're a housemaid. Expect to be doing kind of menial chores that aren't necessarily too exciting. If you're playing this game, you're playing this game because you're excited about the story. Menial, manhole in the sweater, get rid of photos, put offensive photos in binder of crimes against humanity. So let's hit that.
I wasn't there when the bomb tore the gallery apart, but the blast reverberates in my head, waking me at night. Men burned and died. I just have to keep telling myself, violence begets violence, and oppression must be opposed.
All right.
To preserve what is good, sacrifices have to be made.
So there's obviously a little bit of voice work here. Now, this is a very large house.
Down on all of us.
Shut up, Angela. Would you please shut up, Angela? I'd appreciate it, Angela. Now, there's basically multiple objects that you can kind of interact with here in the game. Depending on the particular board, it's going to kind of change what objects you can interact with and what you're going to be able to find, what you're going to be able to do. You'll become very quickly... Well, that scared the crap out of me. You'll become quickly familiar with the house, to be honest with you, as you start playing this game, because things kind of always are in the same place, usually, once you kind of get past the first couple boards. Do you play? I don't, but I'd love to learn. There we go. That's what I'm going to put. Now, the Ortega, Gabriel will start putting little notes around the house. As you guys start progressing through the game, you start getting a feel for the character, even though you never really meet him. You're always Angela. And you're always hearing Angela's thoughts. You're always hearing what she has to say about things and how she feels about things. And in a weird way, it's a little bit of like a role-playing game because you're the person that kind of decides what she does and how she feels. You kind of decide how she responds to situations and other things that occur throughout the game. Right now, I'm literally just searching through the house. And you can see right there, there's an outside view. And there's that little kind of reflection thing going for it. And it's a really cool way to check out the character. There's a sign that says, terrorist leader David Burns arrested. Uh-oh. I think that's her brother. Yeesh. Not good. So yeah, basically you kind of to start things off, you kind of just start doing menial house chores, and of course things start kind of changing up in the world here. I'm having weird control issues. I don't know why that's happening, but glad that went away. And basically, as you can see, there's two kind of ways of interacting with it. You can turn on lights, and then there's other ways that you can find things that kind of can dictate how you respond to him. And how you respond to him, how you do things, how you treat the house, has an overall effect on your relationship with Gabriel. Now, you'll never meet Gabriel. At least I don't think you will. Maybe at the end. I'm not really sure. I haven't gotten to the end of the game. But other than that, there's no other way to interact with Gabriel. Why do you leave this note? It says this is his favorite spot at night. I guess this is his favorite spot at night. Thanks for sharing that, Gabe. And then usually you're going to get like a blue option or a red option, which hopefully I'll get to show you here sometime in this video. Right now we're just kind of lighting the house up. We're looking around for things to kind of interact with and for us to change. So the more red things you do, it's a weird way of putting it this way, but the more red things you do, like turning on the lights, being nice to Gabriel, the owner of the house, the more the story's going to kind of turn to, you developing a relationship with him. So for instance, he said, pretty good color. Hold on. Pretty color, good job. This place keeps improving. Now we have two ways we can respond to him. A red way, basically, or a blue way. He says, I love doing it. I want to do more. Or practice and patience and eye for detail. So we'll do more of it. Because Gabriel's a man who loves art. He really enjoys art, even though he finds himself being kind of in a crappy situation when it comes to the uprising. Let's go over here. Let's turn this light on. Oops, turned it off. That was my mistake. Did not mean to do that. Put the damaged photos in a drawer or burn the museum damaged photos. That's sad. I don't want to burn them. I don't want to burn them. I'm going to put them away. That's what I'm going to do. So right there, what you saw kind of was me making a decision. Now, these decisions, while they seem minute, of course, are going to affect the general story and how it moves forward. And you kind of get a sense for the Gabriel. You basically get a sense of his character, how he is and what he does and why he does it, as it were. We're going to change the date here. There's another note right here from Gabriel. It says, I wasn't too fond of this apartment, but it has grown on me. Aw. I like being here in the presence of your things. Now, I'm playing the game kind of in a little bit of a way of being nice to him. I'm kind of being nice to Gabriel. Because, you know, he's a guy who likes art. He doesn't seem like a bad guy, even though I think he's found himself in a crappy situation. He doesn't seem like a bad guy. Men's sweater with a heart-shaped patch. Sure. Now, you only have 1 hour. You have literally from 1700 to 1800 to do whatever tasks you have available to you and explore the house and basically, you know, interact with notes or objects or whatever have you. You only have 1 hour of the day. So the game, in a way, while it wants you to explore, while it wants you to, you know, get a feeling for what's going on, I'm going to encourage you to read that, by the way, while I'm talking. It's always pushing you forward at the same time. Right now, she is literally writing in her diary. Shirley is still not buying these things through the normal channels, given the current situation. General Miraflores has all cultural commerce locked down. Now, she will do this sometimes. Sometimes she won't do this. Art galleries, antique dealers, even flea markets have been closed, forbidden to operate. As you can see also, we've accomplished all of our goals there on a little post-it on the right. Any commercial activity that doesn't serve the new regime or its allies have been made illegal. Of course, Miraflores has touched the American crop. Consumer brands that are actually made in China and exported across the world for the good old you. If you haven't gotten the hint, by the way, this game takes place during the 1970s. The sun has set. I'm going home. I guess we're... Okay. US of A. Ortega must have art stashed in places across the city that he's just hauling into apartment bit by bit. And the game, by the way, if you haven't noticed, is very, very quiet. It's a very solemn, quiet game. It's calm. It's not meant to be... It has the things, kind of crazy things that happen to it, but for the most part, it's a very solemn, quiet game. So this stuff looks expensive. Again, these are all Angela's thoughts. This is how you become familiar with the character of Angela. And then you kind of hear how she thinks about situations and how she feels about things. Gold lace tattoos, fierce yet protective. Probably used to have an elaborate headdress standing out across its shoulders. I will eventually be kicked out of the apartment. Probably when I stand up from writing in my my diary. Which I don't know if that's a mistake or not. I guess we didn't get to finish our diary after all. I kicked us out kind of harshly like that. Again, you do have a bit of a timer, like I said. You can't just sit there and dilly-dally while you're playing the game. Now we're on to August 29th, 1972, beheading of Saint... I didn't get to catch that, but I'm pretty sure it's beheading of Saint John the Baptist. Now this is all stuff that she's going to say. So there's a little bit of voice work here. You do get to hear Angela's voice. But you can go back if you wanted to and review the things that she wrote. Like, for instance, she didn't exactly get to finish this particular... diary entry, but that's because I just didn't, you know, have the time to. The point of the game is to probably play it, I would say, you know, twice and see the different endings if you act warmly to him. That's basically essentially it. You're going to play this game, you're going to play the game kind of warmly towards him, you're going to be cold to him. Yes, I mean, there's probably different, you know, situations that could come out at the end, but for the most part, I feel like there's only probably going to be 2 endings. I could be wrong about that. I mean, you could be really detailed and get into every minor decision kind of affects the ending in some way. But I have a feeling there's kind of going to be just 2 endings. The red ending, which is how you, if you act nicely to him, or the blue ending where you're a little bit more colder, a little bit more methodical. You're just doing your job and you're looking out for the insurgents more than you're looking out for him, for instance. But I could be wrong about that, but that's the impression I got from the game. And the game basically takes anywhere from, apparently from 90 minutes, they said, to 22 hours. I don't know how I feel about that, but so far it's taken me about 2 hours and a half, and I've been enjoying exploring and kind of getting a feel for these characters. If you're a person who can't handle a very calm experience in a game, I don't know if you're going to enjoy this as much. Prepare dinner, record mixtape. I'm going to stay in the countryside for the next few weeks. Feel free to stay in the apartment while I'm away. Okay, that's interesting. That's never done that before.
Yes, they blew apart your precious gallery. What did you think the revolutionaries were going to do? Wave banners at the regime until they gave up? Gabriel is angry with me because a building was destroyed. But my brother has been arrested. I don't know if they have any real evidence, but the stories about Miraflora's jails are horrifying. The president won't openly execute an American citizen, but inside a prison, anything can happen. I pray David is safe.
All right. So as you can see, her brother's been arrested. But again, we're ultimately the decider of how this story goes. So I'll take good care of this painting. We just find things to interact with now. Again, kind of a rinse-repeat type of deal. You're going to be going through the house, looking for objects to interact with. I don't really need to turn on the lights. He's not coming back this time. So I'll just skip all that bull crap that I normally do, try to make him a little bit feel more welcome in his own home. Sometimes you'll find little books hidden around. By the way, you can kind of zoom in on things. You do have like a crouch button. I mean, there's a couple things different actions you can take, but most of the time, they're not really required. It doesn't really affect things. I haven't had the need to crouch. What is this? Looks like a list of people in Ortega's former circles who have political weight. What is he up to? Oh. I don't know what he's up to. That's interesting. Maybe he's trying to help her get her brother out? I'm not really sure. Right now, I'm experiencing some weird issues. I've noticed that just depending on the time of day, depending on like if you look outside or not, it can really affect your frames per second quite a bit. So we're going to prepare this guy's dinner now. Thanks to the regime, the stores now carry all sorts of American products. We're going to prepare a tender, homey dish of macaroni and cheese, or prepare a sophisticated meal with oysters and caviar. Macaroni and cheese or oysters and caviar? Sure, we'll prepare the homey dish. What the hell? Again, that's going to take up some time. Again, we have from 1700 to 1800. But this is kind of the game. This is essentially it. You kind of rinse, repeat things over and over again, trying to get a feel for the characters and how it's going to affect the storyline. It says, fill me up so I don't feel the emptiness of space. What the hell does that mean? Interesting. There's some cash there. I've never taken that before because my character is not a friggin' thief. I guess we made him a meal. We offered to make him a meal earlier, so it makes sense that we got to make him a meal for this time. But I mean, yeah, it's a passive game. It's not necessarily... It's extremely passive, I will say. If you're a person who wants something kind of high-paced and quick, it's not necessarily a game that kind of builds up very quickly. When I get back, we will play another game. Yeah, they're never going to play a game again. Looking forward to it. Yeah, they're not going to play another game. He'll be dead or something. I'm sure of it. That's usually how I'm predicting that's what's going to happen at the end of this game. There's going to be some sort of disaster. Now, the game doesn't necessarily give you access to every area every day. There's different areas that are open to you depending on the day that you arrive there. It always changes what areas you have access to. It's not always the exact same. Is there something in the water there? Indeed there is. Remove these upsetting books. I wonder why I threw them in the water. Weird. Alright, let's go upstairs. I apologize if I'm doing a lot of camera spins. Trying to keep it steady, but... I mean, yeah, it's a very simplistic game. It's not exactly less, but it can serve the purpose. What does it say? Oh, that's exactly what it says. Oh, he got new art. Okay. Cool beans. I guess he wants you to sit down and look at it. I thought she might write in her diary, but I don't think she only writes in her diary, by the way, in this weird white chair. I don't know why. There's one of the books that, by the way, unlocks achievements and such. Oddly enough, though, I did not get one from here. I did not get one. What does she want me to do? Record mixtape. Record a mixtape? Good God, he's getting a lot of art, this guy. Let's arrange the dates. It doesn't look like we're going to have much access to any of the rooms. I guess we have to record a mixtape, though. So let's go down here to his stuff. I imagine this is where I'm supposed to record a mixtape. I assume... There we go. Aha. Record mixtape with romantic music for the homeland. Okay, so that's going to take up a lot of time there. Looks like it took up about another 10 minutes of our time. Apparently she can record a mixtape ridiculously fast. But that kind of covers it as far as all of our objectives go. And like I said, it's a game that kind of, as you get deeper to it, of course, things start getting a little bit more crazier. You can kind of view the outside city from this angle, and things sometimes start exploding, or you can walk out there sometimes. The game's constantly kind of reacting to your decisions. It's a very well done game. I mean, it's a game. If you're a person who's interested in a story-driven game, obviously you're gonna expect a little bit of a slower tone, a slower pace. Yes, the graphical issues are kind of sucky, but I mean, hopefully it's something that will be fixed eventually. Is she gonna start writing? Of course she is. Why wouldn't she? But I mean, does the game have replay value? Yeah, I mean, sure it does. You have I think that second ending to see how it all goes. I mean, it does a really good job. The writing is very well done. You do really get a good feel for these characters, for Angela, how she feels towards Gabriel, how Gabriel feels towards her. You do really get a good grasp of that. Musically, from what I understand, the composer basically is the guy who did the music for Banished Saga, did a lot of cool music. There really isn't as many moments. It's weird because this is what I said about Neon Struck yesterday, or a couple days ago, I should say, by the time you get to see this. It really, the music is not used as much as I would like. There's a couple times where you get to play a record, but other than that, you don't really get to hear the amazing music that they composed for this game as much as I would like. I would like the music to be a little bit more, probably just played thematically. It doesn't necessarily need to be, super realistic for me to enjoy that aspect to it. I think music is something that can create a tone, can create a scene, and I think that while they were aiming for realism, and I think they were aiming for a really cool interactive environment, and they accomplished that, musically speaking, I think they should have used it more thematically and just had music to start playing when things, go crazy and there's an explosion, or, whatever happens, or you see a beautiful piece of art. I think they should have used their music a little bit better than the way they did. But I mean, other than that, and the graphical issues and kind of the weird wonky controls, if you're a person who enjoys story-driven games, if you're a person who enjoys interpreting a story from scenic things, who enjoys exploration, who enjoys finding details and things, then you will enjoy Sunset. But it's just even for a little bit of a story-driven exploration game, it's extremely slower paced than even some of the other counterparts out there. But I mean, it's still enjoyable. The tasks that you are placed with are menial tasks, but you get them. You get why Angela's done. That's her job. That's why she's there. That's what she's doing. And I think it accomplishes what it set out to do, which was tell this story from the perspective of Angela and how she interacts with Gabriel. I think it's basically all of our time right there. As soon as it says the date, that's your last journal entry. I don't know why she's going to leave, though. We can do whatever we want. He's not coming back, isn't he? I thought he wasn't coming back. He said stay as long as we like. Why would we leave? That doesn't make any sense. Of course, he did also say, he also did lock down most of the house. So I guess we have to leave? I don't really know. Yep, yes we do. So I guess that kind of covers everything I had to say about Sunset, guys. Like I said, it's a story-driven game. If you're looking for something faster paced, you're not going to get it here. But I mean, at the same time, they do a really good job of presenting the characters and the story and the overall 70s theme, the beautiful art pieces, the design of the game is there, and it's captured very well. Hopefully, once they patch up those graphical issues, the game will be fantastic, guys. So I just want to say big thanks to the developer for a chance to check out the title. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and share, guys, and I'll keep bringing you awesome indie games, guys. If you really enjoyed this video, maybe consider hitting up that tip jar. If you're feeling generous of heart, all tips go to improving the channel or future giveaways. Till next time, guys, play more indie games.